Come back to Let's Play Higurashi, Himatsubushi. What a confusing, clustery day. I woke up and I was like, is it morning, afternoon, what? 'Cause I couldn't tell, because the sky didn't look any different. It was the afternoon, and it is now the evening, and it's the day where I upload, so therefore, recording. Bit of a clusterfuck, really. Took hours because one, I needed to charge the battery because for whatever reason my laptop battery was at 5% and that was no good. So it took a while to get that charged. Then I had food, and then I just decided to edit for my Pokemon LP on the main channel. And that took ages to save and shit, so whatever, here we are now. And it also took ages to load up. Fitly enough, that continue was a bit delayed. We're about to find out the shocking conclusion to the previous part. What happens? Find out in a moment, because first we have to go over the word of the day. Goddamn microphone, I'll just put it down. Word of the day shall be... Actually, I wonder if they got that word in here. Nope, they do not have suspense. I know they got mystery in here somewhere, or mysterious, so let's go with that. I think I've already gone over that one though, so never mind. How about... You know that? Actually, where is that? Yukai, or Yukai. Kidnap. It's like, of all words, that one's in here, but not suspense. Let's have another one thrown in there as well. Knowledge. I think we've gone over knowledge before, but anyway, Chishiki. Let's have a third word today, just for the hell of it. Shima Island. Anyways, now for the thrilling conclusion. Who's at his door? I knew it! Huh? It was a girl. It was Rika Furude. The girl stared at me with a bored look in her eyes. Her expression doesn't look bored to me, it looks more kind of like suspicious and a tad bit annoyed. I didn't have any justification for it, but I felt like I had been found by somebody I shouldn't be found by. And let's have a look how she looks in the original art style, see if she looks any more bored, because she does not look bored there. Maybe a bit more bored, I suppose. Just like, But the updated one looks far more annoyed than the original art style, doesn't it? Click on that again. To fill the silence, I raised my hand as I made a meek greeting. Of course, there was no way she heard my small voice in this clamor. But even then, she should have seen me wave my hand in greeting. In spite of that, she simply stared at me with a cold look on her face. At that moment, the noise and heat spread throughout the car once again. Ooishi had returned to the driver's seat. Taking a look at the group that were blocking the road had started to move aside while glaring our way. Sorry to keep you waiting. Shall we go? When she registered the figure of the girl behind me, one of the villagers came over and picked her up. Probably literally, because she isn't really that tall, I imagine. In a manner of, it's dangerous, so get away. I thought I was going to say, it's dangerous to go alone. Oh, that's a thing, is it? Just picks up Rika. He's just like, it's dangerous to go alone. Oh, Akasaka, take this. Hands over Rika. He's like, what'll she do? It was then that she whispered one or two words. However, I couldn't hear any of it. Well then, let's go. I'm going to gun it, okay? But of course, still within the speed limit. As after shaking off these still audible angry voices, Ooishi floored the gaps. Along with the roar and the din and the shouting, the villagers and the girl quickly disappeared behind us. As soon as we're through here, we're in Takatsudo. Are you okay if we end up getting into a firefight? Don't be fumbling with the safety at the last moment, do you hear? She laughed mockingly again. I was more concerned with what the girl had said, however, as I was vaguely bothered by it. What was she trying to say with that empathetic and candid expression? I suppose it's normal if you're nervous from here on out. If you don't deal with it, there's a chance it might do something rash. There was no longer a way to confirm that the girl had tried to tell me. It might have been that the girl who warned me to go back to Tokyo again, or else was saying to me who was here now, ignoring that warning. Maybe. You know what, it's actually... I want to check something here in this here diction... Pardon me, nary. I doubt it's in here, but you never know. No apathetic word in the Japanese dictionary. Although there are, various words that can have similar meanings, so there probably is one in there somewhere, but who cares? Maybe that's him muttering to himself now, even though I warned you. What a fool. The feeling she said something like that. Higurashi, when they cry. If you were to call Himatsubushi a rather lonely village, then Takatsudo was outright desolate. I wonder if this is a picture from the same village that they'd taken pictures of for the novel. For your everyday city boy like me, I just couldn't understand why anybody would force themselves to live here. Well, stands that people had, but they were all covered in dust or enveloped in ivy, indicating that it was all abandoned. You know, as a not city boy, I'm not from the city or anything like that. I don't really like cities, as I've mentioned before, too crowded for my liking. But this looks like a very, it's a ghost town village, essentially, isn't it? Nobody's there. But it looks pretty tiny regardless, really, doesn't it? And obviously a bit run down because it's been abandoned. I wonder why it was abandoned, though. That in itself feels like another story, doesn't it? There were signs that people had, but they were all covered in dust or abandoned and enveloped in ivy, indicating that it was all abandoned. People really lived in a place like this, didn't they? Well, it was a long time ago. A remote place like this is pretty rough for old folk to live. And the younger people probably wanted to try living in a more suitable place. If there's nobody left to take the reins, all that gets left is this. Even if he had no personal attachment to the village, seeing the disused buildings made me feel a little sentimental. It seemed that Ooishi also felt the same way. What was the wallet found over here? The person who found it must have a good reason to come out to this desolate place. Yeah, there's some villagers who have a field out in the mountains here. They pass by here in the morning and evenings. Villagers who work in the fields walk by here every day. No way, they probably go as far as they can by car. So in the early mornings and evenings they pass by here and just happen to find a single wallet? They probably did. Where exactly did they say they found it? In a thicket just a bit further ahead. The person who found the wallet just happened to have some stomach cramps and was planning to use the thicket to do his business, it seems. It was here he happened to find it. Probably hoping there was some toilet paper in there. And he took a shit. Ha 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 ha. No. Everything about that story just seems a little too convenient. Right from the discovery of the wallet, I just can't shake the feeling that something's off. I expressed the feeling that I had from the start of the day, quite frankly. It seemed too good to be true, but it was unwavering proof. But it was too perfect, sickening so. That was my feeling. You might actually be onto something by saying it's all a little too perfect. Meaning? The truth is, I heard a little something from a friend of mine in the 4th Division, where Oyashiro-Sama referenced the kidnapping of the minister's grandson. She referenced it? Yeah. It's been several days since the minister's grandson has been kidnapped. Poor boy. It'd be nice if they let him go soon. It seems that old Oreo muttered something like that while on the veranda. And that little musing was conveyed to the various people working deep behind the scenes of the Sonozaki family. Man, Ooishi really must have some good connections to freaking, hear about that. Right, I'd heard something earlier from Sana-san, the informant. That when the leader Oreo had a concern, somebody in the family would be considerate. So, in a sense, she gave the order to release the hostage. I see it that way. The wallet being conveniently discovered was just a ploy to hand the boy over to the police. Why would they release the hostage? Well, there's only one reason why somebody would release a hostage, isn't there? What is it? They reached a deal. That would mean the minister promised to halt the enemy's our dam project. The dam project will definitely go away. I remember those words that the girl had said resurfaced in the back of my mind. In the end, it was turned out exactly as she had proclaimed. That young girl knew the circumstances. She knew everything about this kidnapping incident from the beginning to the end. Akasaka. The girl unexpectedly... Wait, what? The girl unexpectedly called my name. Akasaka, whatever the hell voice it. What is it? Go back to Tokyo. He's just remembering it then. It's just like, then she mysteriously appears in the back car. Huh? Before long you will woefully regret coming to this village. That would be an incredibly pathetic thing to see, so I thought I'd warn you right now. Why would I come to regret it? Stop whining. When you tried crossing the road when the don't walk sign was up, did your parents finish explaining why it was dangerous before pulling you back to the sidewalk? They'd pull you back right away, wouldn't they? They'd pull you back before explaining why it was dangerous, wouldn't they? In other words, it's something like that. The girl who knew everything from start to finish had warned me in the beginning. Go back to Tokyo. Akasaka is such a coward. And then she fell. She face planted on the floor. We'll probably find the boy, but what happens afterwards will probably be a bit of a problem. How it'll be a problem, though, is something a single officer like me can't figure out. Do you know a girl named Rika? What I had said was such a non-sequitur that Ooishi sat in stunned silence for a while. That's one thing right there. I never knew what this meant, non-sequitur or whatever. But it's not too long ago. There's one random. I've seen the anime before, but just seeing it again just It made me laugh so many times, and now I get at what the joke was. Karate High had this one of the early episodes of Karate High had this bizarre anime, and it's just like, I can't remember the scenario. I think it was the episode where this transfer guy comes in and he's just like, I'm gonna take over the school and shit, and it's mostly focused on him just like being shocked at all the various students there, and then he just suddenly switches to a completely unrelated scene, and that's essentially what it means. And it's just hilarious. It's just like something like, let's strum on a guitar in the mountains, just like cut to a guy just strummed a guitar in the mountains, and then he just briefly stops, dramatic sound effect, oh my god, this is a non sequitur, and he throws the guitar. Yeah. It's just hilarious. The delivery, it's just over the top. So that's what a non sequitur is, essentially. So it makes sense. That counts, doesn't it? Because he just said that out of nowhere. And that has nothing to do with what Ooishi was talking about. Of course I know her. She's the only daughter of the Fruity family, with the three families. What kind of girl is she? Well, this was an unexpected name to hear. I'm a bit surprised. Does public safety think that the Fruity family smells fishy and wants to keep an eye on? Share some of that information with me, please. No, it's not like that. It's just something that caught my attention. Well, whatever. It wouldn't do to not answer a question from a friend I've sat at the same table with. I'm honored that you call me a friend. So, that little lady is, well, somewhat of a village mascot. She's beloved by everybody in the village. Some of the older folk worship her especially. Worship? I don't know how much about it, you see. Girls born in the Fruity family have somewhat of a secret implication, it seems. One of the local beliefs in enemies are. The living incarnation of Oyashiro-Sama or something like it. So the story goes, apparently. Oyashiro-Sama. Now that you mention it, I think I saw Oyashiro-Sama written on some of the Alliance's banners. What is Oyashiro-Sama exactly? It's the name of the guardian deity of Himatsubushi. They believe it's the exact punishment on those who would do ill towards the village. Well, if there was such a convenient god around, the guys at the dam would have long since been down in by divine justice. Luckily, nothing like that has happened to anybody just yet. Yeah, just yet. This was prior to the main series. This was right before that started to happen, isn't it? Grandson of the minister who trifled with the village as a result of Oyashiro-Sama's anger was... what did they call it again? Alright, Onikakushi. Minister's grandson was deemed away. Is this Ooishi speaking, or... Let me just check the log here. Maybe, I don't know. His grandson was deemed away. That would probably be how the script has been written. I see. Probably would turn into something like that. Divine punishment wrought by Oyashiro-Sama. Then the culprit is the living incarnation of Oyashiro-Sama. That girl. Even I didn't know exactly what I was saying. The fact that Ooishi left it off was a bit of a relief. Oishi's joyous laughter was so infectious that I began to laugh like an idiot as well. Oh, this is unusual. Ooishi, after laying into the horn several times, rolled the window down and leaned out, waving his arm in an exaggerated manner. It was a car headed the opposite way. Until now, we hadn't ran into any other cars except the road. And of all places, it was at this desolate location. It seemed that Ooishi knew the owner of that car. The other car also chipped its horn and came to a stop. Dr. Irie, good afternoon, konnichiwa, and all that. The other car's window rolled down slowly, revealing a young man in a white overcoat. He was about my age, or perhaps a bit older. But you really can't judge somebody by their appearance. Can't judge age by appearance, especially in Japan, It's just like, it could be anywhere from like, oh, you're in your 20s? No, you're in your 40s. That's a whole 20 years. Man, I was off by 20 years. Why, if it isn't Ooishi-san. Good afternoon. Konnichiwa and all that shit. Fancy meeting you here. That's my line, Doctor. I never thought I'd see you here. What happened? Oh, nothing. Just a little house call. Oh, really? Was it an emergency? No, nothing quite that serious. Thankfully. Why is it... What? What was that extra laugh it for? Was that Ooishi's line or his line? That threw me off there. I'll take my leave here. If I don't get back quickly, my staff will be angry with me. Being the head of a clinic must be tough. Well then, take care. The young doctor named Irie, after gesturing his farewell, drove forwards and soon disappeared around the corner. Ooishi also drove forwards, but soon came to a stop again. He pulled out a worn map book from the dash. His expression didn't have an ounce of belligerence. He was perfectly serious. What is it? The clinic shouldn't be making any house calls today. It must have been quite an emergency, or otherwise a patient with some extenuating circumstances. She flipped through the pages, opening up to a map of Takatsudo. After that, he took a look around and started to figure out what our current location was. Are you saying that emergency is suspicious? Didn't I say, there's hardly anybody that lives in the Takatsudo area. The road we're on right now is here. Dr. Irie came from this direction. Having no sense of our surroundings, I couldn't digest anything about the place he was indicating on the map. We're heading towards the spot where the wallet was found. By the way, that's over here. Let's see. If you're heading to one of the few residences in Takatsudo, it's the wrong road. Meaning, Dr. Irie came from a direction where there are no residents. As long as somebody working in the fields between these mountains didn't collapse. But if somebody collapses and you call a doctor, normally you'd bring them back with you for a more detailed examination. But just now, Dr. Irie said it was nothing serious. It didn't seem like anybody else was in the car with him. But she didn't say any more than that. He also said nothing more. That doctor just now examined a patient close by. Only that. The noisy radio had suddenly gone quiet. The sky had just as suddenly turned an oppressive color. As Ooishi mused that it might start to rain, the torrential downpour started as though trying not to disappoint him. Eventually Ooishi stopped the car. The only sounds that break the sounds were the percussion of the rain on the roof and the soft squeak of the windshield wipers. Don't have the sound effect for that. I can do the sound effect though. Who's speaking now? Let's do this a bit hush-hush, shall we? Say now in a quiet voice, he exited the car without an umbrella, careful not to make any noise. How's the battery looking? Down to 44, as usual. I couldn't get it to any higher than 70%. As I said, my battery sucks. It barely charges. I have to literally take out the battery and put it back in just for it to register to work half the times. For it to charge properly, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Anyways though, I guess that'll do for this part. Only 24 minutes. They finally arrived in the Takatsudo area. This plot is moving at a snail's pace, despite it being the shortest in the question arcs, and pretty much the whole series, really. Well, actually, there are spin-off kind of ones, and I've never played those ones, so there's probably some shorter ones in those as well. I don't know. But the main ones is just 4 question arcs and 4 answer arcs, with the final answer arc being the finale for the series, in a fitting conclusion. But that's a long ways away. Anyways, I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.